Yo, welcome to Ant Speaks, and when Ant speaks, y'all should listen. Make sure you like, comment, click the link in my bio, it'll take you to my YouTube page, and go ahead and subscribe for me, man. But look, let me let y'all get a good view of this flyer. Yup. This is PBC's first pay-per-view bout of 2024. The fight will be on Saturday, March 30th on pay-per-view. There's a few things that I see wrong with this being a pay-per-view bout. First and foremost, it just seems like PBC is going to be trying to make bouts and fights that and make them into pay-per-view that's not pay-per-view. My guy Keith One-Time Thurman, I'm a big fan of Thurman. When he was active and he was, a two-time championship welterweight fighter, 147, before, he had the injuries and then he fought Pacquiao and lost. He just haven't been active, so I wouldn't say that he's a pay-per-view star anymore. For him to be the headliner on this card, it just don't make no sense because he haven't been active. Now, if Keith One-Time Thurman was active, then I would understand him headlining a card or headlining a pay-per-view card because he's active. But with him not being in the ring for 2 years, he haven't been in the ring for 2 years, and now he's going to be moving up a weight class fighting Tim Tszyu at 154. And I think this is Keith Thurman's first time fighting professionally at 154 for a belt. And this fight is going to be for a belt. It's a couple things that I see wrong with it. But let's get to the undercard. The Rolly Romero and Pitbull Isaac Cruz. That's going to be a good fight. I don't know who's going to win. I would say that that's a 50-50 fight. Because Rolly got power. He got size over Isaac Cruz. Isaac has power. He's a come-forward fighter. And I don't really see Rolly backing up. Rolly's a come-forward fighter. So I don't expect that fight to go 12. But I don't know who's going to win. I haven't seen enough of both of these guys to say who I think is going to win. I seen Isaac Cruz against Isaac Cruz, Pitbull Cruz against Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta ended up pulling that fight out. I think he hurt his hand in the fight and still was able to win the fight against Pitbull Isaac Cruz. And you know that he already fought Rolly Romero. Rolly has some good, traction in that fight. He was coming forward against Tank. He was landing good shots, but ultimately he ran into a left hook from Tank and he got knocked out. So Tank has beat both of these guys, and now these guys are going to be fighting each other. I do think it's a great fight, but like I said, I don't know who's going to win that fight. And that is probably the more exciting fight than the headline, which is Thurman and Tszyu. And the reason is because my guy, Keith One-Time Thurman, just haven't been active. He fought the Riverside Rocky. I can't think of his name. He fought him. He didn't look good against Riverside Rocky in his first fight back from injury. I think that was 3 years ago. And then, he fought Pacquiao. He lost. Then he fought Mario Barrios, and he looked good in the early rounds, but later in the fight, Mario Barrios started coming forward, and Keith was, moving around a lot. So with Keith moving up to 154 and fighting for the first time at 154 for a championship belt, I don't know what to expect from my guy. And that's my guy. I rock with Keith One-Time Thurman. At one point, he was the best welterweight in the division. He was one of the best fighters in boxing. He had 2 belts and would have had 3 if it wasn't for his injury. But 2-3 years can change a lot in boxing, and now he has fallen out of that glory. He lost his belt to one of the belts I think was stripped from him because he couldn't fight, and then the other belt he lost to Pacquiao, and then Pacquiao lost that to, I can't remember. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but Pacquiao lost that to somebody. I'm not gonna go into it. And then Tim Tszyu, he's young. He's an up-and-coming fighter. He's, a bigger, stronger, younger than Keith One-Time Thurman. So this, to me, is saying that either Keith really believes in his power and his how he will be able to feel at 154, or this is Keith saying that this is I'm bowing out of boxing, and this is this young guy's opportunity to come and make a name for himself off of me. But me knowing Keith One-Time Thurman, from how he talks, the way he approaches boxing, he don't think that this is his last hurrah. in Keith Thurman's mind, he think he's gonna move up. This kid is young. He feel like he's gonna be able to box him and win and stay away from his big punches. And Keith probably think that has a real good chance of winning this fight, and he does. He's a great champion, but with being out of the ring 2 years, I just don't know. I can't see it. And then the last few fights that Keith has been in, they haven't been great performances. He just barely squeaked by the Riverside Rocky. I can't think of his real name. He just barely squeaked by Mario Barrios, who had moved up from 140 to 147, and that fight went the distance with Keith one-time Thurman. So I don't like this as a going out party for my guy. I feel like my guy Keith one-time Thurman deserved way more than that. I feel like if he really wanted to see if he could become champion again, let me see him in there with a couple, tune-up fights. Then you want to move up and see what you can do at 154. But going in there against a young bull like Tim Tszyu is just a lot. And I hope my guy Keith Thurman can pull it out. And if he do, that'd be amazing for him. That'd be a fast track for him to go up to 154 and fight some of the bigger guys, some of those, bigger names at 154. The Charlos, those guys. But all in all, this will be a great card. I just don't feel like it's a pay-per-view. And I don't know what PBC is trying to do. Are they going to be trying to make all of their fights on Amazon Prime or Amazon TV pay-per-view? Because this right here doesn't warrant a pay-per-view. Even though Pitbull, Isaac Cruz, and Rolly Romero both fought Tank on pay-per-view, Tank carried those fights. Tank was the reason that we tuned in to watch these fights with Rolly Romero and Pitbull, Isaac Cruz. If it wasn't for Tank, we wouldn't have never even watched these guys. We wouldn't pay for that fight. Now my guy Keith one-time Thurman, we tuned in for him when he fought Pacquiao, because that was a huge fight and he was on a great trajectory. Even if he lost to Pacquiao, that's not a bad thing, even though Pacquiao is older, and I do feel like Keith could have won that fight if he didn't get dropped and he just stayed steady in his fight and kept attacking Pacquiao. He could have won that fight, but him getting dropped really is the reason why I feel like he lost that fight. But if Keith would have just stayed busy and stayed active, he could have still, got into some more, pay-per-view fights. But I feel like Keith, they threw this opportunity to Keith, and he like, okay, well, I take it. This is a young bull over at 154. I'm a seasoned veteran. It's probably harder on Keith to make that 147 anyway. So he probably like, let me move up. This is a young fighter who doesn't have that much experience. Maybe I can go in there and school him. Maybe I can go in there and use my legs and get it and stay away from him and outbox him. I don't know what he's thinking, but I know what PBC is thinking. PBC is thinking that we're gonna have this be, the young lion versus the old lion, and hopefully this young lion, it can turn into a star, and we can use Keith Thurman as one of the bigger names in boxing to catapult Tim Tszyu up. And make his name bigger in the United States. But I don't feel like this is supposed to be a pay-per-view bout, and I do feel like my guy Keith Thurman should have had a couple tune-up fights before getting in there with a young lion like Tim Tszyu. But y'all get down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Peace out.